Hey everybody, welcome to Wild, Creative, and Confident. I am your host, Sarah Marie Thompson, the creative success coach from wildandcreative.com. And this series is all about how you can use your passion and creativity to design the life and business of your dreams. Today we have Lisa Marie Pepe, the confidence and online visibility coach. She has hosted over 40 coaching radio shows. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's awesome to be back on with you for the second go-around of the Wild, Creative, and Confidence series.
And I know last time we talked all about, creativity, inspiration, all of that stuff. So let's dive into receiving, because I know that receiving is a really hot topic that's just kind of going around the internet now. I feel like a lot of people have put into place, those puzzle pieces of what they want to do and how they want to create their life. But a lot of the time that missing puzzle piece is about allowing you to receive what you truly want in your life. So I want to ask you, have you always been able to receive yourself?
No, actually. No, there was a time in my life, it wasn't all that long ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, where I was going through a really, really difficult time, personally and professionally. It came on the heels of having an automobile accident when I was doing massage therapy. And that accident was sort of the onset of a downward spiral for me in my personal life and professional, because I wasn't able to go back to work as a massage therapist. And it felt like for a couple of years after, I'd say almost like 3 years after that, that I was definitely stuck and I was in my own way, and I was not able to open up to the abundance or the blessings that were all around me. I mean, I was still grateful for everything every day. I got up, I prayed, I meditated and all that. But my whole spirit, my zest for life, it just wasn't there. I was sort of battling depression and anxiety and kind of feelings of worthlessness, and didn't really know where my place was in the world and all of that. So as much as I'd like to say, yes, I've always been open to receive, the truth is no, I've had to really learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful process once you allow yourself to learn, but it's a process.
What is infinite receiving to you? What does that mean for you?
Well, now that I have, gone through the process of opening up myself to bigger and better things, and just, knowing that I'm finally in alignment right now with my higher power and doing things the way that I think they should be done. For me, it just means being open to the right opportunities at the right time and not second guessing them. So if someone, let's say comes to me and asks me to be on, like, for example, this telesummit, not to second guess that. So that's all a part of like the infinite receiving, right? Like, I'm not going to second guess, well, am I worthy of this? Am I not good enough? Am I good enough? That's where I sort of draw the line. And when people say, nice things, or they offer me nice opportunities, it's just like, wow, thank you. I feel really honored. And yeah, I'll certainly take a consideration and look into it. That's sort of where I'm at right now, professionally and personally.
I actually received, I think it was a Facebook message from somebody a couple weeks ago, and this just triggered my memory to actually talk to you about this. They were going through a time where they had basically put out all of their energy into their passions, into everything that they were interested in doing, and they felt completely 100% drained, because although they were putting out 100%, they were happy, they were inspired, they were interested in what they were doing, and they loved what they were doing, but they weren't receiving anything back monetarily. So I wanted to ask you, you probably get this question a lot as well as a coach. That's a very that happens a lot for people, right? What would you suggest or say to somebody that had that going on for them?
Well, that's another block that I had to work through as well when I first started coaching, because it came so naturally to me and it felt so good that I felt like, why should I be taking money to do something that I absolutely love? And that, it really does come naturally to me. And that's where I get my, more passion from. That's where I sort of get refueled from. And that's why I'm able to keep doing what I do. But I would definitely try to explore with that person, what's going on in their own, either their own, history or their own past, in the way that they may have been raised around money, or the way they may have been raised around receiving, where they taught that receiving was, and this happens for a lot of people. Some people don't like what they consider like charity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't want people giving them things.
Right.
Sort of like that prideful kind of thing, like, oh, no, I don't need any handouts, or I don't need anything like that. And that may be a potential block. The other thing too that I had to get around, and this just stems from, sort of my religious teachings and stuff as I was growing up, right? That, it was always better to give than receive, for example, right? That's sort of something that I grew up hearing a lot. And I still believe that to a point. But I understand now that money is energy. Money is needed to make the world go round. And not all people who get wealthy or earn a lot of money are necessarily going to squander that away or misuse it or use it on things that they shouldn't. And so maybe, trying to explore that as well. So I know that's something for me. I'm not really a showboat kind of person when it comes to money. I rarely talk about it, actually, but I'm glad that you brought it up to allow me to explore that.
It's so tricky, isn't it? Because, I mean, when someone gets to a place where they really want to visit their capacity to receive and wonder to themselves, maybe I do have some blocks here or there, which we probably all do in some way.
Oh,
Never 100%.
sure.
We're really actually digging through like 5,000 onion layers of our life, of what we've just gone through, right? So we're not going to just hit the nail on the head on the first try. There are so many things that are going to come up. I remember even, a year ago or so, I literally wrote down what I thought were every single one of my money blocks. And it kept going and going. And I brought up things that like I didn't even think were an issue to me. But, it's all those little things, those little layers that get, put in our subconscious mind, and they're always back there, right? So is there some kind of method or something like that that you can share with our audience that might help them start to dig through those layers?
Yeah, you're right about a lot of, the whole unconscious thing and, long-term beliefs that were sort of ingrained in us as we were growing up. And even if they had no malicious intent whatsoever, they do affect the way that we then perform as adults, the way that we get into the world and the way we engage in the world as adults. I would suggest that if they can pinpoint the obvious blocks that they're having, I know that sounds kind of silly, but there are certain things where you're having a block about, and I would say get real about those, put them down on paper, and literally, go through them and test them. So for example, one of my blocks for the longest time, and I'm saying this very truthfully, was that, wealthy people, again, this was from my upbringing, from hearing people in my family talk, that wealthy people only became wealthy because they lie, they cheat, they steal. That's what I grew up hearing. And so, I mean, obviously, now that I'm an adult and I'm trying to, receive, and I'm trying to teach about, being open to earning money and, making an income and doing all of that, I had to really work through that. And I had to find the evidence that to disprove that, if that makes sense. Right. So I wrote that down as one of my blocks, and I then went out to disprove that. And it's pretty easy to disprove it. I mean, I know many, many people, even in our field, who are online coaches who are so wealthy, at least monetarily, and they don't showboat it. They don't flaunt it. They don't misuse it. They talk about all the good things they do with it. And so that was a big learning curve for me. I had to go out and find evidence that there are wealthy people in the world who, are very honest, are good, hardworking people who use that money as energy to make the world go round and to make the world a better place. Mm-hmm. So that's just one thought. I think if someone truly is stuck and they're not conscious of what is really blocking them, then I would suggest working with a coach to really get through those layers. Certainly have someone kind of trigger for you where those things might be coming from.
And it's really interesting that we're talking about, finances specifically on this call, because you could take, 10 different people that have all a very similar situation. Maybe they're very good at something, or maybe they're just not making money in that field, or doing what they love. And each one of them might have a completely separate money block, right? So it's so funny to even like kind of dive into it. Cause like, as you were talking, I was thinking, back about a year ago, a big one of my money blocks was that I thought, because I cared so much about different charities and organizations and animal welfare groups, I thought that, maybe why should I be receiving more money when I'm just going to be giving it to them? I mean, it should be going to them right away, right? So, I mean, we really have to play with our minds and say, if you're making more money and you're being able to receive, then you should really be thankful and have that gratitude, because you have the opportunity now to give to XYZ, right? So, I mean, it's so funny. Everyone has such different strange money blocks, right? So
yeah, and they come from all over, they come from the way we're raised, they come from religious upbringings, they come from even, pop culture. I mean, the way that you view things. There's a lot of movies out there that make, Wall Street millionaires look like monsters, I mean,
oh, yeah.
so we're
yeah.
literally, I mean, we're affected by so much that we don't even recognize where it even comes from sometimes. So there are layers, that have to get sort of peeled back. And that, I'd say also, to just be patient with the process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process. It's a process of undoing, of unlearning, and, trying to relearn something new. It doesn't happen overnight.
And there are going to be individuals, and we've talked about this on several different interviews, but there are going to be individuals that, dive into something new and start making a ton of money right away. And those individuals are either going to keep going and make it and stay strong, or they're going to flop because they're not ready. But, when you take that time, or when the universe is providing you that time to grow stronger and stronger, stronger, make your foundation stronger, as you keep allowing yourself to receive more and more and drop those blocks as they come along and work on yourself, you're going to be a very strong individual that's going to allow you to, basically receive all that you want in the near future, right? So.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, it's funny that we are talking about finances specifically, because that gets into another whole idea of like wealth and abundance. Like, what does that mean? Because for different people, it means different things. So it may not necessarily translate to money. It can be, I don't know, just recognition, or, being well known in the community online, or, something like that. And you can consider that, forms of wealth or forms of abundance, if you will.
Yeah.
It's strictly, just tied to money.
Mm-hmm. Even for some people, love, right? So it's funny.
Yeah, that's huge.
Often people have a bit of I hate using the word block. I feel like it's like used so much, but they have a little bit of like a belief or something that they need to work on in one of those areas, right? Because often not everybody is completely like straight across the board 100% in all areas of life. So it is funny. So everything that we're saying, everybody, obviously you can put whatever word in there that you want when we say abundance or finances.
Absolutely. You can plug in anything in there. Like you said, love, wealth, gifts, people giving you something. And then if somebody go, no, no, I don't want that, or no thanks, or you shouldn't have done that. Rather than saying you shouldn't have done that, maybe say thank you, and try to really just open yourself up and acknowledge that it's okay for people to love you. It's okay for people to like you. It's okay for people to show their appreciation towards you when they offer you some small token, whatever it may be. Yeah, it's interesting when you look at it from all those different perspectives.
Interestingly enough, when you're talking about gifts, since I was, probably a teenager, I always loved to give gifts. Like giving gifts is like my favorite thing. You pick something special for someone and just like you watch them open it. It's very exciting. However, when I was about 16 or 17, my parents, they got divorced and split up. And I kind of went into the role of just taking care of everybody. Like I didn't need any gifts. And I kind of, really brought that role into my 20s as well. And I remember thinking in my 20s, I was like, I'm always giving people gifts and I'm a really nice person, but like I don't receive any gifts from anybody. Like, and I kind of came to that realization, in my late 20s when I was like, I think it has stemmed from this. So I really had to work on my whole receiving, totally switch gears and did lots of, different mindset work on myself. And then I started getting gifts from everybody. So, it's really identifying maybe that's something that happened, right? That could have stemmed from that, right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we block ourselves in so many ways. And I'm very much like you. I always loved giving gifts. I always loved picking out little presents. Even from when I was like in elementary school, I'd always want to pick out the perfect present for my teacher or whatever, And yeah, I mean, we also give signals to people too that we may not be aware of.
Totally.
And if we're constantly telling people, or even in our body language, if we're showing people that, we don't really need that, or we don't really want that, or when someone, prime example, when someone compliments you and they say, oh, you look really nice today, or your hair looks nice, I like your outfit. And how many times, I don't know where this stems from truthfully, but a lot of women in particular will say things like, oh, this old thing, it was in the closet, or, we make excuses as to why someone's complimenting us. And in fact, it's like, no, you just spent an hour going through your wardrobe, pick out the perfect outfit so that you could get a compliment, yet then someone offers it and it's like, oh, and we kind of just brush it under the carpet, and that sort of vibe, even that energy that we give off, it certainly can block us in so many ways that we're not even.
Or even so many women will receive a compliment and right away give a compliment back, right? To kind of counteract that compliment.
Yes. It's
right?
like, oh, your hair looks great. And it's like, oh, my hair's curly. I always wanted straight hair like yours. That's just something like that. But I know what you're saying. I mean, and this happens across the board. It doesn't, and this is what it amazes me. I've talked to women all over the world, and it's like women everywhere have these blocks around confidence, around feeling good enough. And that was a real eye-opener for me. I sort of thought it was more prevalent, in sort of Western and more developed countries, parts, of the US, Canada, etc. And I've talked to women from a lot of different countries, countries in the Middle East, countries in Asia, and women everywhere kind of feel the same way. They always feel like they're trying to be good enough, or, just enough, and it was that was a real eye opener for me during the past year when I've, recently gotten to talk to all these women.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I mean, we think that it is big in North America, people or women, not seeing their self-worth, but truly it is a worldwide thing, because no matter what country you're in, basically a woman has always been put beneath a man slightly, right? So now is a really amazing time, I feel, especially in North America. I feel like women are, especially online, women are really rising to the top, right? And really kind of not taking over, but really showing their strength and how they can, work with other women. And, we're not enemies anymore, or if we ever had been, we are working together, right?
Yeah, and that's really a beautiful thing too that I have found as well. And I love to create, posts and write things and messages that inspire. And I just wrote a post about this. I think it was Saturday I wrote it and put it up on my Facebook wall. And my intention was to actually tag a few people. I might get around to doing that. But it was something about that. It was, self-confident women, empower other women to be self-confident. They don't put each other down. They don't, call it, competition necessarily. I mean, yes, is there a marketplace where we're all essentially trying to get clients from? Yeah, of course there is. But to make, true friendships and bonds where we can help empower each other and lift each other up, I mean, that's where the magic happens. Even doing this series, it's no coincidence that you and I met up just about a year ago, I think, or even less. We were just networking in one of our Facebook groups, and it turned into a wonderful friendship, and then, you know, joint ventures and all these kinds of things that wound up happening. And that wouldn't have happened if I was to look at you as my competitor or my enemy or someone that, you know, I was to try to be better than or anything like that, you know.
And that's another thing. I think I'm gonna botch this quote, or maybe you can help me out. But something about how when you know, you're scared to get out there, you're scared, you don't have that self-confidence to be the best person that you can be, although you know you can be that person, because you think that, you know, it might make other people uncomfortable, like maybe family members or something, or friends, something like that. But truly, when you are the best person that you possibly can be, and you know, push through that, have that confidence, you are really inspiring other people to do the same. You're doing them an injustice if you're not being your best self.
Yes. And I think the quote that you're referring to, I don't know for sure, but it sounds like one of Marianne Williamson's quotes, where she says something to the effect of, you know, who are you not to be, you know, brilliant, and who are you not to be, you know, and he goes into all these like positive, you know, descriptions. And that's essentially what it is, you know, when you sort of allow yourself to shine through and be a light and be a force of positive energy, you also then give others the permission to do that as well.
Right.
So,
yeah, awesome. Well, you're definitely doing that online. We see you everywhere with your positive, inspiring posts, and you know, you're definitely a face online, which is amazing, and helping women every single day. But so I want to ask you one more thing. What's been your biggest achievement to date?
What's been my biggest achievement to date? That's a really great question, because it's funny, you know, first of all, there's no such thing as an overnight success. So if anyone is believing that, please just stop. It doesn't happen. You know, there is actually a funny quote that says, you know, I've spent an entire lifetime becoming, you know, an overnight success. And that's truly what happens. At least that's what I found. So for the last 2 years, I've been building, and it's only been in the last few months where I really got in that zone where I was just open to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say one of the biggest accomplishments that I've had professionally, at least for this year, would be, I don't know, there's been so many. And I kind of look at them all equally.
All stepping stones.
Yeah, they're all stepping stones, absolutely. And they're all blessings, and they're all, you know, things to be celebrated. I'd say being made a senior writer for Shift Advanced Life Design magazine after only submitting one publication, and then following through on what my editor asked me to do, which was to interview some of the heavy hitters in our field. He asked me to, you know, specifically, he gave me a list of people, and he said, if you can get interviews with these people, you know, we'll talk. Mm-hmm. And I just went all out. And, you know, my theme for this year has been, you know, faithful, focused, and absolutely fearless. So I took this list and I applied that sort of personal mantra to it. And I just started calling people. I mean, literally calling people, just like it, even like really high up on the chain, you know, in the online community, in the online entrepreneurial world. No, I didn't get to speak to them directly necessarily, but I went through the chains of command and found out how to get in touch with people, found out, you know, who was representing who and how to get there. And I got a lot of yeses out of that. And he was so impressed just by my effort that he said to me, had you not even gotten those interviews, he said, just the effort you put forth alone, you know, showed me how tenacious you are and how fearless you are in going after what you want. I'd say that was a huge sort of breakthrough for me, because that was something, and again, I wasn't expecting that. He didn't say to me, go do this and I'll make you a senior writer, or go do this and he said, go do this and we'll talk. That was simply for me to try to become a regular columnist for the magazine. You know, I had no idea. I had no idea that, you know, I was going to be given that privilege.
Well, and the thing is too, I mean, we have to all remember everybody is a person just like you are, right? I mean, there's no need to be scared about talking or reaching out to anybody at all. But those funny fears that somebody might have, right, that holds them back from moving forward. I mean, you had everything takes to have, contacted whoever forever, right? But just you with your new mantra and you're moving forward, you really became that fearless person, right? So, for anybody watching, just, take on that word for the year, fearless.
Yeah. And, this is what I tell people. Like you were just saying, first of all, everyone is a person. And it doesn't matter how wealthy someone is, doesn't matter how significant or how much of an impact they've made, or, how frequently their name is Googled or whatever. What really matters is that you recognize that they started from, with the exception of some who are just born wealthy or born, inheriting, oodles of money and property and all that. Most people just start from the same place. You hear talk from like people like Tony Robbins and stuff, who are huge gurus in their fields, and they talk about, where they were when they first started. He gave a speech about, I guess he was working as like a bus boy or something, and he was completely flat broke, and now look at him. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what happened for me too, is that I made that sort of, it's that connection. Like, we all do start somewhere. And my whole philosophy right now is, if somebody says no to me, okay, like, that's really where I'm at right now, because I feel like, and I think I talked about this last time, but I'm in a place right now where I don't allow other people to define my self-worth. I feel like my self-worth comes from my higher power, and in that no human, being can actually make me feel worthless without my permission. So the worst that can happen is that somebody can say no, but it doesn't make or break me. Same thing even when you get on with a potential client or something. If they're not your ideal client, or, or whatnot, and it just doesn't work, you can't take everything personally. Again, that's something I had to learn, but I am in that position and in that place right now where I know that the people who I'm supposed to work with will come to me, and I will come to them, vice versa. But
that's the full circle connection though, isn't it? Because self-worth is everything to do with receiving, no matter what it is at all, right? It all has to do with how you feel about your self-worth and if you are worthy for XYZ, right? So
absolutely.
So one more question. What is it that makes you wild, creative, and confident? And maybe your answer will have changed since last time. I'm not sure. You're very fearless now. So
wild, creative, and confident. Well, I would say for sure this year I have definitely taken on a lot more than I probably would have been ready to in the year prior. Something sort of just shifted in me back in January when everyone was writing out their mantras and themes and resolutions, and I said, okay, well, this is my personal theme for the year, and I promised that I was just going to adhere to that no matter what happened or what came my way. And so I would say, that's where I'm at right now in my life in terms of being confident. And I don't know about how wild, but in my own way, I guess. Yeah. My physical space is still a disaster area, but at least online, I'm very well organized.
Well, speaking about confidence, you actually have a freebie that you're giving to our viewers, and it's called The Empowered Woman, a guided exercises to help you build the confidence that you need to thrive in your life and business.
Yes, that's correct. It's a 9-page PDF ebook that I created, and certainly I'm happy to offer that up to everyone who watches and is seeing the video right now. And you can actually fill it in right online. So it's great. It's a good exercise to help you sort of get into that space physically, mentally, emotionally, where you can really truly be confident in who you are.
And so where can everybody find you online right now?
Everywhere. No. I would say the best place to go would be, I'll send it to my website, positivetransformation.net. So it's singular. It's www.positivetransformation.net. And of course, I am on Facebook and all of the other social media platforms. So if you were just to put my name in the search bar, I may pop up.
Okay, awesome. Well, and I also just want to share with everybody that you are a big contributor into the new program that's going to be coming out right away, Wild, Creative, and Confident, 6 Steps to Creative Success. And you have a major part of online visibility and confidence in the program. So
Yeah,
everybody, make sure you check it out.
yeah, so excited about that. And again, this is a prime example of women coming together to do really, powerful things. So I'm really excited about the program as well.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you everybody for watching. We definitely appreciate it, and watch out for your next video. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.